Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Today is a very interesting episode, and I've been asked the question so many times over my teaching career. What does astrology say about polyamory versus monogamy? And I'm wearing my Care Bear earrings because I care about all the little bears and their charts. Like all the bears can do what they need to do, and astrology assumes that each of us has different inclinations. And I think so. Today we're going to casually wander through the topic of polyamory and astrology or monogamy and astrology and say, what does astrology know here? Okay, so first of all, how do we define polyamory versus monogamy? Polyamory, I guess, multi-loving, amorous. People often think of polyamorous in the physical sense that if we're polyamorous, we have many physical partners. And um, you know, I can come out to say that my chart had a lifestyle that's similar to that for many years, maybe 20 years. But I'm old now and I choose monogamous one marriage situation. Now monogamous like is a little bit misleading because one marriage, it's like how often do people get married anymore? And it's like I think it's just like one partner versus multiple partners. And most often we think of it physically. Well, you know my current uh, my current situation just so funny because we're always like we're not in a monotonous relationship, okay? Like it's like you do the math. Like I don't want to be in a monotonous relationship. But I think that's the bigger question is like some charts get bored easily. Some charts like variety. Some charts are very jealous and maybe one partner is the way to go. Some charts are free loving and just love, love, love. And the more, it has a lot to do with how the chakras are wired. Like if you have a really big heart chakra and you're asked to funnel it into one person, and then everyone you meet, your heart chakra's just burning all over them. It's just really hard to contain the love sometimes. And I think we have to look at how people are wired chakrically to say what is best for them in their life, what works for them, their machine. The ancients, let's go ancient on it. They would call it the soul senses machine. They would say each of us has a different sensory apparatus that we are living in. And so each of us has a different way of being. I think the traditionalist way of looking at things was that everyone should be monogamous. Um, and that's the right way to be. The different generations have blown up that idea. The Uranus and Scorpio generation is like, we need freedom in Scorpio ways. And like the Neptune and Scorpio generation really probably did some deterioration of the Scorpio Saturn look. The point is that different generations have different ways of handling, multi-loving charts and all this kind of stuff. Let's take a break to look and have some coffee from Heavenly Donuts. Remember, we're in heaven here. God made polyamory, whoever the God is, whoever the gods are. I have no idea who they are, but they made polyamory or it wouldn't exist. There are books like The Ethical Slut. There's other books on polyamory that exist. So I know it's real because it's in books. If it's in books, it's real. Okay, so we know that it exists in heaven because heaven is on earth, heaven on earth. Okay, that's why we're all Care Bears here. We care about everyone and everyone's chart. Okay, so let's talk about this. How are both valid ways to live? Well, there are people who are so loving and so full of chi that they could maybe stand to have five partners because they might overwhelm one partner, for example. That might be one reason that you need multiple partners. It might be that the chart has 10 planets in Sagittarius and it just likes to move on to the next thing. That might be called serial monogamy, just like this, then this, then this, then this, and this. A lot of charts are longevity artists. Like maybe if you have a Capricorn moon, you might be really steady and say, like, what's the marriage contract? Let's stay on that course. And that might be a very monogamous chart. So I think it really we can say that both are valid ways to live depending on the core values of a chart. Sagittarians are supposed to be wild and free, and that's the value that they bring to life, and that's why they're so fun. They keep us rocking, right? But the Capricorns are supposed to hold down the fort and, keep things capitalist. No, I don't know. They're supposed to protect our money and our finances. I do think monogamy can be better depending on what's going on. It can be a little bit more secure financially because you're not breaking up finances a lot. And, people are stronger in teams and things like that. So, I think, we have to just say that both are valid ways to live depending on the core values of a chart. Now, one important thing in either system is honoring agreements. Okay, what is the agreement that you set out in a certain relationship? Right? If you are a polyamorous chart, you need to tell people when you start dating them, I am polyamorous. I like to love multiple people. That is the agreement. Do you agree to that? Because what we don't want to do is cheat, right? Cheating is categorically a negative thing. I don't think anyone has ever liked to be cheated on in any game or in anything ever, ever, ever. Cheating is bad. Okay, can you cheat in a polyamorous relationship? Yes, you could break the agreement. You could say, we agree to only, have coffee with other people, and then you could actually go to the water slide with someone else. I don't know what the agreement is, but you don't want to break the agreements. Okay. So, I had a great talk with one of the people on my team the other day, and he was talking about the bait and switch, which is when you agree to something and it gets switched on you, right? That would be like if you agree to be monogamous, but then the other person had a polyamorous chart actually, and so then they started cheating. That's a bait and switch. That's no one likes a bait and switch. Okay. It's all about what is the agreement. So I think it's really healthy with astrology to look at your chart and say, what is my chart need as far as polyamory monogamy spectrum? It's a spectrum, probably a 3D spectrum, like I don't know, with like 10 dials every which way. I don't know. But the thing is, it's like really uncovering who we are as far as these things, and then going out into relationship territory and telling people this is the agreement that my chart in its optimal development would like to have, right? Now, what do we do when we fall in love with somebody who maybe has a different pathway or a different way? Well, there's that's a little complex because composite charts are real, right? Thank you, Robert Hand, for writing the best book on composites ever. But the thing is, should we show the book? Oh my gosh. Planets in Composite. We love this book. Who doesn't love this book? No one doesn't love this book. Okay. So, Robert Hand, there he is. Ooh. Ooh. I probably have a good composite chart with him because he's my favorite scholar ever. Anyways, the point is that planets in composite is real. So sometimes we have a good composite with somebody, which means that we have crazy alchemy with them. Like when we are next to them, we feel great, we feel good, we feel beautiful. And in a heavenly world, let's have some heavenly coffee. We only hang out with people that we have good composites with. What? Yeah, you don't even have to spend 5 minutes with somebody don't have a good composite with. Well, I mean, you might have to if you're checking out at the grocery store or something. But I'm just saying that we can choose to spend our time with people who make us beautiful and we feel beautiful with. Now, sometimes we fall in love with one of these people and they have a different style. Like we're monogamous and they're poly. We have a great composite. What are we to do? Well, that's really up to you. That's a style choice for every couple to kind of decide. And I think in a heavenly world, we would kind of spend some time getting to know each other and say, like, this is what I got going on. This is what, and you could transit together a little while and see what happens. Can we find a win-win? Not a compromise. We don't really want to compromise. We want to find a win-win. Like, is there some way this could win for both of us? We have a video on this channel that says win-win or no deal. Like, it has to be a win-win or no. Okay. So I think that would be the case, is to find a win-win. Now, if one person's polyamorous and one is monogamous, maybe you can find a win by working together in the arts, for example. If you make a video with somebody and you have a good composite, it's a win-win. Both of you win in your life because you had a beautiful experience and you looked good on camera and people like you a little bit more. I don't know. If one person compromised and got in and said, okay, I'll be polyamorous with you, it's okay, but it might be a win-lose. I mean, It depends if it's blocking them in their life. Like maybe they could be poly with you until they find a monogamous person. It depends how much is breaking their heart or whatever. But I think you can always mold the connection so that you're dancing on some project that works for the two of you. It really comes down to a party is like the mathematics of a party is people, a good composite, and an activity. Like what's the activity you do together? In dating relationship, the activity might be physical, right? But in a arty relationship, maybe you write a book together, maybe you I don't know, teach a class together. Well, all these things that you can do when you have a good composite that isn't necessarily dating. So I do think, okay, let's talk about relationship anarchy for a second. Some of my students taught me about relationship anarchy years ago. And this, I think, really overlays well with astrology because in relationship anarchy, we can grow things and see what's growing there and then make whatever's growing naturally grow forward even more. So in astrology, what we might not, the old guard would say, like, check the composite. Is it good for marriage or not? But the young people, we might check the composite and say, what is growing here? Oh my gosh, a book is growing here. It's all in the third house. Let's write a book. Oh, what's growing here? Fifth house. Oh, we party together. Okay, we're gonna grow that. Like the thing is it's really important to kind of let the composite inform itself over time. Here's an example of this. Okay, so Casey Cardoso, some of you guys know Casey. Casey is on our show a lot talking about physical astrology. We wrote the book together, Astrosomatica. Casey's a kinesiologist. Okay, see if we can find a picture of Casey. Anyway, the point is that Casey and I would be hanging out and we were doing a lot of work together because Casey is oh, here's Casey. There's Casey, right? Okay. So Casey is a massage therapist and kinesiologist, and I had a broken situation because I got in a car accident. So Casey and I are working together. Casey's working on my neck or whatever. We just start talking and talking and talking. Every time we get together, we're talking about astrology and like physical astrology and this and that and this and that, and it goes on. And it's such a good composite that one day we're like, let's look at the composite and see what's going on here. So what we saw was a moon, Jupiter, Mars, grand trine in Earth in 2610. Like, is that so beautiful for work together? Or, I mean, I can't even imagine a better working relationship composite. And then it had all this stuff in the third house of writing a book. So we're like, we decided that day to marry our composite, not marry each other. We're not dating. But we decided to marry this 2610 thing and work together for the rest of our lives because we wanted to commit and grow this beautiful, glorious thing. So that's an example of how relationship anarchy works is you share energy and share energy and share energy and share energy. What's growing here? What's growing here? Oh my God, now let's take a look. Then you marry the intelligent mind to your heart mind. Remember, look at the chart to marry your intelligent mind to what's going on. You look in there and then you tech it out and you say, okay, let's commit to that project together, right? And so let's that's I think introducing relationship anarchy into the equation will help astrologers really understand how to traverse this composite issue of we have a polyamorous chart and a monogamous chart in there together. Now what do we do? Well, let's grow what is growing there and not make any commitments to a situation that wouldn't be good for both people. Now, the other thing that's cool about relationship anarchy is in polyamory theory, which is kind of the traditional multi-loving theory, you have a hierarchy. You have your primary partner, and then you have all these partners underneath. Your secondary partner, your tertiary partner. It's just like, oh my God. Well, see how I'm more of a relationship anarchist, which is, okay, in relationship anarchy, all things growing are equally important. Not just your husband, not just your wife. Like, every person you work with is equally important because if any of these relationships go bad, like all of them, it's like a one rotten apple ruins the whole bunch, right? So it's like in relationship anarchy, you try to keep everything good so that the ecosystem is working well. And I really do believe in trying to keep every, relationship good if you're going to have multi-loving attitudes toward life, because you can't just let one thing suffer and think it's not going to affect the whole ecosystem, right? You really got to attend to all those. But so the relationship anarchy piece is all relationships that are growing are important. Okay, not just and there's no hierarchy. right? It's more of a web of, and in team theory, let's apply this to a non-physical realm and just say work. Okay, like in our team, we are definitely not monogamous. You know what I mean? And by that, I mean that we are definitely multi-loving. We all love each other very much. We don't have to hate one person to show that we're like, you know, that no one's jealous or what. It's like we just all love each other. Like a love, like my bandmate, I gotta love my bandmate. I gotta love my husband. I gotta love my kid. I gotta love them all. I gotta, you know what I mean? You love, 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 love. We don't have to hate one to love another. Like, and so I think in that situation, we can grow multiple composite charts that are all good and have a very good team, is what I'm saying. Good teams are built on good energies. When we have someone new coming to the team, we check composites with a lot of people, especially if there's going to be a commitment, right? We definitely, and let's say there's not a great composite with somebody else, then we might just portion control how much those two people are together. But we do pretty well a lot of the time. So I guess what I'm saying is that multi-loving theory can be applied to teams, it can be applied to work groups, it can be applied, but it's not X-rated, it's not R-rated, it's heart-rated. We're talking about hearts, we're not talking about physicals, okay? So I think relationship anarchy really says we're all floating up here. When one boat rises, we all rise, and that's any boat that rises, all the boats rise. Like, so we all want to be better. Now, let's talk about being ethical. Ethics is important in every single thing we do. So if you are going to be polyamorous or RA, relationship anarchy, be ethical. Keep your agreements. Don't lie. Make sure you're transparent, that everyone agrees to the situation. Okay. Now, there is a book, The Ethical Slut. Now, I don't really like that term slut because, like, is loving multi people slutty? That's a negativistic way of looking at it. Now, that was a reclamation of the word. Of course, we love that book because it advanced things a little bit, right? We have to go up in notches here. But basically, I think the good point of that book is ethical. Ethical. Let's call it ethical pixie. I mean, like if we took away the S word, ethical pixies, like ethical fairies, it's like ethical magicians. There's a many beautiful ways to say you can be ethical as you're magically growing love all over the place. So ethics is really important in everything we do. If you're monogamous, ethics are really important. If you're just so let's consider ethics. Now, okay, let's talk about taking a breath. Okay, let's talk about dealing with jealousy. One of the things about growing a multi-loving team is that people start to get jealous, like, oh, those two are so close, or they look so good together. My Astro twin the other day shared a picture of him and his new girlfriend, and I was like, it's so cute, it hurts, like, but it was like I'm like happy for him, obviously, but like I just love him so much that I was just like, I'm dying inside. But it's like comedy, you know what I mean? It's like you die because something's so awesome or it's so funny. But it's so good that I'm dying, you know what I mean? Like we need to introduce compersion into the equation. Now, this came up in a book. I wish I knew that. I wish I knew the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. It was Beyond the Ethical Slut. It was like the next one. It was a really good one. It's talking about compersion. COMPRS. No, PERSION. Compersion. Okay. Now compersion is 100% the opposite of jealousy. It's like when you enjoy somebody enjoying themselves. Okay. So this is one of the big parts of polyamory or relationship anarchy is let's say you have a partner and you enjoy them enjoying life. That's compersion. And I think we have to say that if we're going to have jealousy in the equation, we have to allow for compersion, right? I think jealousy comes up when an agreement is broken. One of the reasons I never am late for anything is because it breaks the person's heart a little bit when you're late, especially if they're excited about something. You don't want to disappoint them. So it's like heartbreaker, heartbreaker, heartbreaker. Anything that breaks people's heart a little bit, we don't want to do in a multi-loving situation because it causes like jealousies or weird. Why does that person get this? And why does it? So I think if we honor all agreements, jealousies are very low. If we start lying or doing things weird that make people not have efficacy in their decisions, then we get these weird jealousies. So like, here's one I learned early in polyamory, which is if you have a new partner, you have to make sure that your partner and that partner can be in the same room. Like, if this person doesn't want to be in the same room with your partner, like, not a good, they're trying to take you away from the, like for example, so there's ways to minimize jealousies. When my bandmate and I talk, Billy, we talk a lot because we're in a two-piece band called 14 Hertz. And, it's like we get in a group text with my boyfriend, like all three of us are texting, and then he and I are texting, and then me and then my man and him are texting. And it's like everything's transparent and open, and no one feels bad because everyone knows everyone can access everyone, and nothing's hidden and nothing's weird, right? So I think jealousy would come in if I started hiding things or, kind of thing. I'm not trying to be too personal, but sometimes we need a personal example. It's like a three-way text thread can, waylay jealousy just like that, right? So I think, jealousy has a lot to do with underexpression as well. If somebody's getting underexpressed, they're not getting what they need in life, then they might look at somebody else with envy or jealousy. And so the whole mega manifestation theory comes into this of like in relationships, often we think, okay, life is all about love. Like I'm going to find my lover and then love, love, love. Well, really from Maslow's hierarchy of need, which is a self-actualization framework, we need food, shelter, water. Then we need friends and love. Then we self-actualize. The point of love is to get you to your chart functioning on you want to function and grow your chart like a tree, right? And then you mingle your branches with these other people and you're saying, oh, let's grow together. Let's stand here in the forest growing together. We're all growing. We're all growing. Well, if someone's not growing or they're bent over or they're not expressing their chart or they're being codependent on somebody, they start feeling envious and they're not growing, they're not getting what they need. So I think a lot of these jealousies and envies can come from these underexpressed versions of people. And so we want to make sure everyone's getting to express themselves in the equation. And I think then people are happy. Okay. We have to remember all charts are beautiful. Monogamous, polyamorous, they're all beautiful, right? Like the traditionalists would look at it and say, like, polyamorous charts, you need to fix that, right? Like, I don't believe we need a remedy for polyamory. I just think we need to honor agreements and be clean and ethical and all these kind of stuff and honor your agreement, right? Well, okay, let's talk about polyamorous signs. Okay. I would say Pisces is very polyamorous. It's global. It's global water. It's saying, I want to feel what you feel. I want to feel what you feel. I want to feel what you feel. No, it doesn't have to be used in a physical way. No, it's like as an artist, oh man, I have to have a chart bead cameo. Check out these Leo Libra beads. Aren't those beautiful? So every time I build chart beads for somebody, I love them. I love the person. I love that I have a Pisces moon. I love the chart beads. I love the colors. I love the colors of their chart. And like I try to make every chart beautiful and its proportions and whatever. And that's the thing is like there's real love going on with these chart beads. Oh my God, I love them. Anyway, the thing is that's Pisces for you. It's like the heart is so big that it's just like, I love you all. I can't even like handle not loving someone. I mean, there's so much lacking of meanness in the Pisces sign. A lot of people who are queer or rainbow, Pisces is a rainbow. If you look at when the sun goes in Pisces, everything gets all shimmery and rainbows come out everywhere. The thing is a lot of queer people have Pisces in them, and what they are is seeing the whole rainbow of life. All colors of people are beautiful. Everything's beautiful under the sun. And so I think it's very hard for Pisces to choose one person and say, you are the only one who's beautiful to me. It's that hierarchy thing. Like Pisces probably doesn't like that. Now, Aquarius seems very polyamorous for me in a very intellectual way. This is air that's global. It's like it's air all over. And this is more like I want to know the details of your life and hear about your family and your anthropology and all this stuff. I want to hear about this and 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 I read this book and read this book and read. And I feel like Aquarius is very global collective as well. And so I think, that Aquarian sign can also really be collective. Now, Pluto is going into Aquarius for 20 years, and I think, you know, the world might get more collective with all this AI and all this internet capabilities and things like that. It's just we are collectivistic right now, and there's going to be an intense amount of work done in the collective. And so I think the world is becoming theoretically very collective. Is that polyamorous? I don't know. I just know that it makes a massive interest in groups and all the people in a group. It's like one person's just not going to be enough for us when Pluto's in Aquarius. So, I think these two signs are examples of polyamory in some way, multi-loving. Now I think we have to look at the houses. Everyone, we could say everyone is polyamorous in some house, right? Like we all have Pisces on a certain house. Like, if we have Pisces in the fifth house of art, we might love to work in collective groups of artists. If we have Aquarius on the fifth house, we might be in theoretical work groups of artists or something like that. But the point is whatever house you have Aquarius and Pisces might be a kind of multi-loving house for you. Now, if you are an Aquarius or Pisces, like maybe there's something about you that is really holding space for people to have multi-loving experiences. Now, Libra is interesting in love because its connection it's definitely a love sign, but it's one-on-one building. And I think a lot of people who have Aquarius planets, for example, have trines to Libra planets. And here we get the big group, but we're connecting one-on-one with people in the group. And so that in some ways looks like polyamory because you're growing connections with one person at a time. And those deepening connections make people kind of jealous and wonder what's going on. And you have to make sure there's agreements that are going on. Now, Scorpio is an interesting one because we all know that Scorpio is the most R-rated of all the signs, and people always associate polyamory with R-rated things. Well, I would say Scorpio is the most transformative of all signs. It likes to go deep, and it's like it could be if you were, let's say, a really Aquarius. Let's say you decided to be a monogamous Aquarius Scorpio or something. Like you could be dealing with the group conceptually, but be really, really impactful, like dealing with occult hermetic knowledge or like bam, bam, bam. Like Scorpio doesn't have to be physical, doesn't have to be R-rated, but it has to be like deep and transformative, And I think, so I think Scorpio can be used physically, but it can also be used impactfully, like just choosing impactful topics and subjects. And so I think, we can always choose, how I keep going away from the physical part of polyamory. It's like, I just think in your old age, feel free to choose physical monogamy, but be emotionally multi-loving because if anyone loves more than one person, I mean, like you love your family, everyone in your family. If you have 8 brothers and sisters, you love them all, right? Like, I think just allowing your heart to enjoy multiple people is the beauty of the polyamory concept. So I think, I think you can have a polyamorous chart and in your young years explore the physical nature of that, but in your older years, you can absolutely choose one person and then do projects with multiple people. That's I think the real fun, safe route, right? Because I think when we get the physical polyamory, then we get into the germ situation, and which is fine. I mean, you can handle germs if you're transparent. Like, just go to the doctor, get your test, do your things. Like, everyone's got to be involved in that germ bearing process, and I think, or germ protective process, and that's fine. I just think like I don't have a lot of Virgo I don't have any Virgo in my chart, and I'd like really doctor's offices are not my favorite, location. Like if I was sending my location scout out, I would not be like, take me to the doctor's office. You know what I mean? So like, I just don't want to do all that. And so I think, what we have to look at is what do we want to deal with in order to be ethical for what our choices are? I think let's look at Sagittarius's role in polyamory. Adventure. I mean, I think, the idea that we're supposed to settle down at the age of 20 and be with the same person forever is just unrealistic for an adventurous chart. Most Sagittarians I know are like, in some ways they're serial monogamous in their early age, like on to the next thing. They do a lot of breaking up and moving forward, breaking up, moving forward, or dating multiple people at the same time, but they're just dating. They don't commit. They're just dating. And so I think that is a form of polyamory, is to date multiple people. I mean, come on, Tinder exists. I mean, like the adventure of love is one of the more fun sides. So I think, we just meandered around the topic, and as we see that there is no right or wrong chart way to be, right? And it's more about agreements, ethics, showing up. You want to show up for all your partners, whatever that be, if they're projects or whatever, you've got to show up for everyone equally. And yeah, feel free to put comments or questions in the chat below. And I look forward to more on this topic. Bye.